Now batting for the Reds, number 44, the shortstop, Ellie Frill.
Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. This is Ricky, and joining me today is Roger and Mike, live in Arizona, spring training in Goodyear. How we doing, boys? And how's Arizona treating you, Roger?
It's great. It's been a lot of baseball. Like right before we got on, I was talking about how I feel like I'm so close to baseball. There's nothing else that like any world events, any trades that are happening. I can't really figure out what's going on. I'm so close to and we're getting so close to the players, as we'll talk about. Talking to them personally and talking to even some parents of the players, that it's kind of like you're right there. You're right there next to the Reds. At least within touching distance, and Mike can tell you a bunch of stories too through this podcast. And it's been a great couple days for sure.
Yeah, Mike, expand on that. How's it been having Roger out there and getting to all these games and stuff?
Well, I mean, I wish he'd take a shower or a bath every once in a while, but no, Roger's been great out here. It's been great to have somebody out here that you can actually talk baseball with. We were talking. I had a shout out to McDonald as well, who joined us from work earlier today at the game tonight, and it's just nice to be able to have somebody that understands, right? Because half the time you're sitting in the stands and people are like, why is that guy walking to first for? What did he do? It's like he took a walk. He took a what? And then, oh my gosh, get away from me. So it's nice to be able to have a couple people out here with you that you can actually share stories with, and you can talk about the game, and you can talk about situational hitting and stuff like that. So that's been really nice, and of course Roger has been that guy for me for the last couple of days. I'm glad to have him out here with me. Now we just got to get you out here, Ricky.
I know. I was really hoping to. My wife ended up having surgery, and the PTO time that I had to use for that. But Roger, you got out there.
Though, sir.
You got out there what, Friday morning, Thursday night, Friday morning,
Wednesday actually,
yeah.
And
today's Friday.
Yeah, I say
you what I know.
Wednesday was probably why I'm a bit thrown off as well with all this travel, is that my flight got delayed 4 hours. I'm stuck at Cincinnati CVG Airport for 4 hours, and Mike is like trying to figure out how the heck I'm going to get picked up by the airport and all that. Luckily, it came through, and we were able to figure all that stuff out, and it did be okay, because like they were all done for the day, as we found out. Like all the backfields like doing their stuff and everything's in the mornings. They get their workouts in early, and then basically they have a game at 1 o'clock, whether it's at Goodyear or somewhere else. It basically is a situation where like they're pretty much done once it hits about 3, 4, 5 p.m. in the evening, and there's really not much else to do, unless there's like a night game, which we can get into because we attended Glendale Camelback Ranch, which was awesome. But luckily I got here. Hopefully there's no delays or any flight delays on the way back, because that was definitely testing my patience.
Now, wait a minute. Let's get this straight, okay? Roger purposely delayed his flight 3 different times so that because I was getting a new sofa, new living room set, right? And by the time he got here, it was all moved, everything was done, and Roger didn't have to do a darn thing. So that's what really happened. Roger knew exactly what he was doing, got here late, and made sure he didn't have to do any work.
Yeah, I got in there and broke the plane, Mike. That's why I got in there and took a wrench to something 3 times.
Oh, that was it. You know what you did.
We had 3 planes. We deplaned 2 times to get on a 3rd plane just to get out here. It was, I don't know. We'll pull my hair out.
Yeah, so you got out there just in time to catch the Reds and Dodgers. Good game. A lot of runs scored. I think the Reds have scored, what they say, 50 runs in the last 3 games, other than today. A lot of things have happened. Matt McClain's been on fire. I think Ellie's just on an extra base tear. Blake Dunn had the scary play today with the hyperextended knee. I don't know if you guys caught that much, but before I get to that, I wanted to ask you about the Hector Rodriguez play. I'm sure you guys, because you guys were there live. I guess he popped up towards the catcher behind home plate.
Yeah.
The ball drifted back into fair territory. It was basically a single, and he just didn't run. Obviously, he got optioned down today to minor league camp. What are your thoughts on that first, and then we'll go more into the details of the game.
Yeah, I remember the play, and it was kind of weird. And the basics of, like Mike had explained, like he's been there to Goodyear many times, but the basics that he had told me is that the field for Goodyear is kind of built down into like a sunken area, and then basically it's built up around it. But there is a lot of winds that come over the top, and that could factor into a lot of things. If you watch the outfielders, if you watch the infielders when they get that Bermuda Triangle area between the outfield and infield and whatnot, like trying to track down fly balls, some of them lose it and drop it. But in this case, it looked like Hector did pop out. He had the body language that it did, but it seemed like the wind literally took it from being a foul ball to in fair play. And it was kind of crazy because they didn't run it out. Luckily, the guy on first base was kind of had a heads up. It didn't end up being some awkward double play because he advanced the runner somehow by having the strangest, pop out bunt of all time. But I wonder, like you said, I think, Ricky, we talked about this before, the Stuart Fairchild incident of 2025, where he got in trouble for not running out of play or something like that and ended up getting
traded.
DFA'd. There was some sort of not traded, yeah. And basically, I don't know if that's hopefully that's not Hector's fate. He ended up getting a big double in the bottom of the ninth to keep the rally going. They ended up setting up the Rhys Hines 3-run homer and whatnot. So hopefully that kind of the coaching staff will give him some grace on that. He just didn't run it out. He probably 100% thought it was a pop-up, as far as I could tell, at least with the body language of what he was doing.
Yeah, I saw some posts on X, some fans. I think Greg Kuffner, Reds Daily, tweeted about it, and people were commenting that were at the game too, and they said that ball was like we were behind home plate and it was behind us, and then it drifted back in the fair play. I guess with Hector compared to Stuart Fairchild, like Fairchild's been in the league for a little while at that time, and Hector's still 22, and got a lot of baseball ahead of him, especially in the minor league level. Mike, what are your thoughts on the whole situation too?
Man, I've got to take the opposite stance here. You've got to run that ball out. You're trying to make I don't know if he's trying to make the team or not. I think that's a little bit aggressive, but he's trying to at least make an impression, right? And the problem is now he's made the wrong impression. I get it, and we'll talk about it more on this show, I'm sure. The wind yesterday was unbelievable. The stuff we saw happen because of the wind yesterday, and even today, actually, we were at Goodyear Ballpark again today, just watching the Indians and the Angels. For those of you who watched it maybe today, and what Ricky described, or excuse me, what Roger, gee, many Christmas, what Roger described is 100% true as well. That stadium is sunk into the ground, and they do it on purpose. Because again, as what Roger I got his name right, as what Roger can attest to, the first, Roger, probably 6-8 rows, you're literally looking the players in the eyes. You're on player level with them, which is a fantastic feeling for a spring training ballpark and stuff. So I love the ballpark because of that. But part of the atmosphere, like today, we sat out in right field. For those of you who have ever seen the game from Goodyear, we sat out in what they like to call the beer garden. Not all of us partook in the beer garden, but we sat out there in the beer garden, right? And it's the elevation that's way up here. In fact, if you look close enough, those doors underneath the beer garden, actually there's batting cages and stuff underneath there that the players go in and can do during the game and all of that. So it sits up high, and we saw all kinds of stuff flying around today. We had to hang on to hats sometimes and hang on to different stuff that was, cards and stuff we're trying to get signed that was on everything. And so the wind can really play havoc with what goes on there. So I understand it. And then secondly, and Ricky, maybe you can add to this a little bit, or Roger, either one. Shouldn't somebody have said run, 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 run? Like if it was coming back over onto the field. Again, this is something I know, Ricky, you've not been here yet, and probably a lot of our fans haven't been here, but this is a different atmosphere. And I think that's one of the things that Roger can attest to. Like, this is completely different. How close you are to each other. The proximity is really, really close. Somebody should have been able to yell from the dugout to tell him to run. And I personally didn't see the play, but somebody should have been able to tell him that he needed to run. So is that on the guy? Can you blame that on the on-deck hitter? Can you blame that on someone in the dugout too? There might not be 100% of the blame that goes just on the player here. There may be some other percentages as far as if you're going to place blame on people.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a bad look, especially for a young player who ESPN has as the Reds' first prospect to be called up this year. I'm trying to find the play that's like a non-copyrighted version of the broadcast, but it's kind of difficult. I guess while I'm looking for that, we could talk about. I want to talk a little bit about the pitching before we get into the offense, because the offense has been just awesome this spring. I know we got the news. I think it was today. Julian Aguilar has been optioned to the minor league camp. Franco has also been optioned to minor league camp. Hector Rodriguez, and then Leo Balcazar got optioned to Double-A and to the minor league camp. Franco yesterday, what he pitched, an inning and 2/3, allowed 2 hits, a walk, and a strikeout.
Didn't look good.
And then Aguilar, I think Aguilar is probably one of the better pitchers yesterday. 2 innings, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts.
We got a great Aguilar story we got to tell here in a minute too.
Yeah, because like I feel like Aguilar kind of gets left out of a lot of the conversations for the rotation, because he's not a really highly touted prospect coming up. He was like a 13th round pick or something out of a smaller college. Doesn't throw the ball the hardest, but he's got really good stuff. Talk a little bit about that, and then tell us about that story with Aguilar.
Well, I tell you what, let me show you the story about Aguilar. You guys talk for a second. Let me go get. I don't want to give away what it is, but let me go get the item, and then I'll be right back. All right?
Yeah, Franco's performance was pretty decent for the start. He didn't necessarily have tremendous stuff coming out, and he went longer than I thought. I thought he'd just go like the 1 inning like he did his last appearance, but he went like you said, 1 2/3, got pulled mid-inning. But Aguilar actually looked a more impressive one. He closed out the game, obviously against minor leaguers, but we're talking about some of the better prospects for the Dodgers. Like Zaire Hope was in the game. DePaula was in the game. Like guys that were in there that have legitimate chances to make it in Major League Baseball. He's not going up against, low A guys or rookie ball guys in there. And he looked impressive. And it is kind of surprising the guys getting optioned down, but we kind of knew that going into it. We weren't sure exactly when it was going to happen. It kind of happened right after that game. And there's still a lot of guys on this roster. Like even though we saw Tyson Lewis in the minor league camp today working out, he's still, I believe, on the roster. Technically, he hasn't been optioned to any sort of AAA team or AA team or single A team, wherever they ended up putting him. Yeah. But yeah, Julian Aguilar looked great. He finished off the game, like I said, with 4 strikeouts. Ended up getting the win. Eventually, just kept battling because the Reds just wouldn't go away with all those home runs flying out of the park. We were, I guess, most impressed because I want to say the rally was first started off like by a couple of walks. Either it was PJ Higgins or Alfredo Duno, and then I think Hector followed up with a double and ended up getting in a situation where it set up Rhys Hines perfectly for that 3-run home run, and it was awesome. And after the game, all the players were in such a great mood. So much that Mike even, I think, printed out the picture of the celebration with, I don't know if you saw Rhys Hines, Duno, and I think our guy Kyle Henley, the Tortugas. Yeah. So this is me just setting up Mike to show you the story because he got up close and personal with Julian Aguilar and got a good story out of it.
Mike, if you're ready, I'll give me a thumbs up and I'll add you back. All right.
Stop it! You're confusing me. Okay.
Yeah.
No, so as I I heard the tail end of what Roger was telling us there. Yeah, absolutely. This is what spring training's all about. First of all, this is a fantastic deal, right? So I'm a big autograph nut. For those of you who are always wondering, like, why is this crazy guy, like, he's not part of the Red Hot Reds podcast, but yet he's on this thing all the time. This is my book of cards that are just Reds players, by the way. This whole thing is filled with, and again, Roger can attest to it. There's more cards in there than brain cells in my skull. So there are all kinds of good stuff. So, and I got to give Roger some credit for this. Afterward, we're looking. I was actually targeting another player who did not sign for me, who went away and his. I'll just give you initials, and I believe he went 0 for 3 today in the game. So because he didn't sign my card yesterday, so that's the whole reason he went 0 for 3. It's G and H, by the way, just so you know. So I was walking away from all of that, and Roger's like, Agion's still down there, and I was like, well, I don't think I have anything from Agion. And then I was like, you know what? Let me look, and I'm looking through the book, and shoot, yes, I do. I have his rookie card. So I go down there. He's talking to family members, so I don't want to, intervene and all that. I'm trying to be very respectful and just kind of stand there. But I stand there with the clipboard, like, against my chest so that he can see it. That's usually how I do. If they want to sign something and they see something that they really want to sign, they'll grab it. That's 100% what he did. He reached through the crowd and grabbed the clipboard from me and shows his family and says, "Yeah, this is the rookie. This is my rookie card. Look at it." And there is his rookie card with his autograph on it.
Nice.
And then the cool thing, if you flip it, hopefully you can see that. If you look here, spring training and the date. So I've never had anyone ever do that. This will be one of my cherished cards right here. I love what he did for me. And this is what this is all about. It's a great story. And when people come into this room that you can only see, like an eighth of, where I have all the other autographs and stuff, and people say, where'd you get that autograph? Do you remember that day? I can go, oh yes, and then tell them that story. So this is one of the great things in spring training. And if you guys have never come down here before, that's the reason more than anything why you need to come to spring training. You can get up close and personal with these players, and they can either have a negative reaction with you or a positive one. And we might talk about some of the negative ones that Roger and I have spoke about, but Julian Aguilar, right there. Love it. That's a positive reaction with one of the great Reds players that will hopefully be up here in the 40-man and pitching off a mound in Great American Ballpark before the season's done.
Yeah, I got a little bit of
in there, Ricky.
So I got a little bit of a throwback. Mike, you remember the We Like Sports days? I wrote about him shortly before he got promoted to the major league team. I got to remember it's hard to search their website. It's kind of hit and miss, but I wrote about him, and it was just interesting reading about his story about, not really getting a lot of offers out of high school, a lot of smaller colleges. He stayed local in California, and then the Reds took a chance on him. I think it was a later round pick. It was like between the 9th and the 13th round. I got to look that up.
I think 12th, but I believe that's correct. 12th round.
And he seems like a really good dude. I've seen him pitch live. It was against the Athletics in 24. I think it was shortly before he had the Tommy John. And he looked good. He looked like he could be a really good contributor to the rotation, especially at that time where we were really, really hampering to have pitching depth because of all the injuries. It's kind of transitioning away from good pitching performances. We talk about some bad pitching performances. Pagan did not look good yesterday. Santillan didn't look good yesterday. Connor Phillips didn't look good yesterday. What are your overall thoughts on that? I think Pagan gave up like 4 runs. Santillan gave up a couple runs. I think Connor Phillips walked a few guys. Just not great. And then today, like Fred points out in the chat, Abbott really struggled today. I'm not too worried about Abbott struggling because I feel like you're just kind of getting used to just getting the ball in the zone. But these bullpen guys, we're really counting on these guys to be a really vital piece, especially Pagan, which I don't want to say I'm too worried, but you never know with bullpen guys. You have bad confidence for a couple games and it can ruin your whole season. So, what are your thoughts on their outings this spring? And then are you worried?
I'm not worried at all. Based on the conditions that we're out here, man, Fred's putting out there throwing BP. It is basically BP in spring training, it feels like, because it is a situation where the elements are kind of against them. Like we're talking about, the wind was so crazy, it turned Santiago Espinal into like prime Mike Trout. Like
Yeah,
that's
Barry
basically what we
Bonds.
saw. Like, yeah, well, I was trying to go for right-handed power hitters. It was just crazy just to see also like Nick Senzel get out there and like get that. Like, so I know it's kind of not great to see these stat lines, especially out of guys that you, like you said, depend on, like Pagan, Santia. I think Pagan's got that like high propensity of pitches, of fly out, or getting outs and the fly out a lot more than a regular pitcher. So like to see that plus the wind plus the Arizona dry heat, man, the ball was flying. I mean, even Max Muncy crushed the ball. There was the reported that Ellie De La Cruz left the stadium with his home run from the right side.
It did.
So like
It wasn't reported. We watched it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we never saw the ball. That's the thing. The reason why I'm saying it's reported is because we don't know if it landed yet, to be honest with you, because no one saw it land, is what I'm trying to say. And basically, we're in a situation where, like, everyone's crushing the ball. So, like, how do you evaluate pitchers on this small sample size? And you really can't. To like, the starters, though, like with Abbott that Fred's bringing up and whatnot, and then it's kind of a bit complicated with the Hunter Green injury scare that I guess the MRI is clear. I guess we're going to be okay for right now. We can exhale. But I'm more concerned if this is still happening in the first month into April, into May, because that's kind of where the pitchers will have more of the advantage. The colder weather, getting back home where, the games are for real. So they're not going to try different stuff out, different types of approaches. Like we're talking about with Hunter Green, had some different approaches in his outing that he got shelled. So overall, it's not as concerning. I would be more concerned if now all of a sudden, like we stop hitting home runs, because as much as I'm kind of saying like the elements are aiding a lot of the hitters, the worst case scenario is a lot of these guys not hitting the ball well. And then we're like going into Cincinnati with these guys on a cold streak. So as far as right now, this seems like prime spring training type numbers where these guys are crushing the ball and the pitcher, small sample size, are just kind of getting them in trouble. As long as we avoid injuries going into opening day, I don't think I'm terribly worried about the pitching staff at this moment.
Yeah, the final line on Pagan was an inning, 4 hits, 4 earned runs. Santion, 2/3 of an inning, a hit, 3 earned runs, 3 walks. Connor Phillips, an inning, 2 hits, 3 walks, or 3 runs, 2 walks. And then I think that was the worst of the worst there. Danner, perfect inning. So there's that.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Roger.
go ahead, Mike. I said Aguirre looked great too. So like, there's always two sides of the coin, right? Like, so hopefully, guys are just going to lock in, like Fred's saying, once we get really close to the season.
But it depends on when you were pitching. When the guy that did the perfect inning pitch, the wind wasn't blowing near as bad. And I mean, you guys have to understand 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And if you get the ball up, right, into that wind will carry that ball something terrible. The air is thinner here. It's kind of like what they say in Colorado, right? It is. So the elevation, if you look at the elevation at Colorado and the elevation at Arizona, there's not a lot of difference in between the two. So there's things that aided and abetted all of this. All right. Don't worry about it. What I would be worried about personally is if these guys who have a ton of minor or major league experience came in and then they're like, oh crap, I got a home run. Pagan, oh snot, now they win another one. And then he starts nibbling and pitching around batters and trying to not have another home run. He did not do that. He came right back. He went right back after the hitters, and that's what you want to see. Santion did the exact same thing. They didn't shy away from it. They know that the wind's gusting. They know all of this stuff. The coaching staff knows all of this stuff. So yesterday's game looked really good on the scoreboard. Yesterday's game was extremely entertaining to watch, but yesterday's game stats for any pitcher should be thrown out. I mean, it's kind of like when you look at things and you go, all right, low, high, we'll throw out the low, throw out the high, and then we go with the middle. This is the high one that you just absolutely throw out. Let me do this too. Ellie De La Cruz's home run yesterday. So a lot of you probably don't know, center field is 410 at Goodyear Ballpark. Shout out to them. They've been great hosts for us. It was just over to the right-hand side of 410, and on the right field line, it's 345 feet. So somewhere between probably around 390-ish or so is where that ball left the field. The berm area out there, the grass is what they call it, the berm, where everybody sits, between the two sides of the batter's eye can hold 1,500 people. So think of how large that's got to be. So Ellie De La Cruz hit the ball over the 390 fence mark. He hit it over all the people in the berm. Behind the berm, ladies and gentlemen, there's another row of concrete where people walk. It's a concourse. It's probably another 60 to 80 feet of concrete behind there. And he hit the ball, think about this, 390 feet the first time. And then he hit the ball over the grass another 40 or 50 feet. Then he hit the ball another 80 or so feet beyond that, beyond the concrete. And as we talked about, the stadium sunk. So everything out there, the berm goes up. The concrete is actually at an angle and it goes up. And then he hit it over the 8-foot fence beyond the berm, beyond the concrete.
Right-handed.
It cleared the stadium, people. To be honest, that ball may have traveled 600 feet, and that's not an exaggeration.
That ball had a family.
That ball had 3 families. It had a step family too.
So I want to talk about this real fast, and then we'll move on. A little breaking news here. Football, not baseball.
Okay.
Max Crosby has been traded to the Baltimore Ravens for 2 first-round picks.
Wow. Cheese will be all over that. He's probably making the video right now.
Yeah, shout out Football with Cheese. Go follow him on X and YouTube. He's constantly breaking down anything football, college, NFL. Be on the lookout for that. Now let's talk about the offense, because this is what's really exciting. We talked about Ellie with the home run. Yesterday, Matt McClain, 3 for 3, a home run, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored. Ellie goes 2 for 3 with a home run. Derek Lowe hits a home run. Will Benson homers again. And then was it
Lowe? He's my new favorite Red, man. Don't be.
Well, they have it. They have it.
He signed a good card for me yesterday. Don't be doing that to him.
Hang on. They have his name. His name is David Nathaniel Lowe. There we go.
Okay.
I was confused why the D was there.
Yeah.
And then obviously Reese Hines hits the walk-off home run.
That, by the way, somebody who's on this podcast right now called, and it wasn't the 2 guys who are usually on this podcast. Somebody called that from the stands before it ever happened.
Yeah, it's awesome. So last year, the Reds were around league average in runs scored, and they were towards the bottom in the league in home runs. I think they were like 22nd or so. Let me get that pulled up. If they can get the home run ball going this year, and they have similar production in terms of their batting average, like the sky's the limit for this offense. Like they're going to put up a lot of runs, especially when Suarez gets going. He's got the spring training stuff. He's in WBC right now. If we get Ellie, who we think Ellie can be, and Matt McClain has his bat travel from Arizona to Cincinnati, and Marte, and then name a player, Spencer Steer. What are your guys' expectations for the offense then? Because if we're hitting home runs, like we're going to put up a lot of runs, and with this pitching staff, I mean, we could easily get 90 wins.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the key to progress of this ball club is now becoming hopefully better situational hitting, which means instead of leaving the bases empty with a ground out or strikeout, we're going to be putting the ball in play, hopefully in the outfield, past the outfield fence, more times than we did last year. The concern becomes who do you play where at times,
Yeah.
right? And Mike and I were even talking about this over dinner. Like, we're trying to figure out like where we're going to put certain guys. One being Sal Stewart, and where he kind of fits into this offense, either positionally or where he's going to bat in the lineup or how many times he's going to play each week. Same thing goes for like a Spencer Steer. Same thing goes for like JJ Bleday. Well, all these guys are playing pretty well this spring training, so it makes it that much harder on Tito Francona to build a lineup every single day going forward. Now going into opening day, and basically we're going to get in a situation where I guess it's a good problem to have all these good guys being ready and able to play and being able to contribute, hopefully at a high level. I guess my question that I've been thinking in my head is where are we going to get our offense outside of obviously Ellie hopefully have his back. I mean this bounce back year. If it's coming from McLean, it's coming from Stewart, it's coming from Nathaniel Lowe hopefully making the open day roster. That I think only makes us a better ball club, and hopefully it makes us a more dangerous ball club because you can't just pitch around Ellie, you can't just pitch around Noel V. Marte, you can't just pitch around even like a Spencer Steer or Sal Stewart. All these guys can potentially be a threat every time they're up there, and that makes me excited for this season. Let alone just the possibility of making the playoffs and competing for the division.
Yeah, so last year they were 21st in slugging percentage, 19th in batting average. They were 22nd in strikeouts. They were 12th in walks, 21st in home runs. They were in the top 10 in triples, and then extra base hits, doubles. They were 18th. Like if they can crack the top, 10 to 15 in all of those categories, like it's going to be a whole different ball club than we saw last year.
I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff here for a second. You're gonna have to give me a couple minutes on this one.
The floor is yours.
First of all, there were a lot of ifs in what the two of you have said for the last 5 or 6 minutes. If we can do this, and if we can do that, and if Matt can still hit, and if there's a lot of ifs in all of those sentences. If I was rich, I'd have bought the Reds a long time ago and they'd be running different, right? So, I mean, you can't expect for all of those ifs to come true. That's the first question. That's the first realization here, right? Something that we're hoping is going to happen is not going to happen. I don't want to jinx anything, but Matt's not going to hit the way he's hitting in spring. Somebody's going to get injured. I don't want to put all this in there. I don't want to speak it to existence, but something like that's going to happen, right? All of these ifs are not going to be definites. That's never going to happen, guys. Secondly, just like the football score from yesterday's game, 14-13, right? You can take a lot of these offensive stats and just throw them out the window. What a hitter does in spring training has no bearing. I've been to more spring training games than I can count. I've seen people who have never. Santiago Espinal looked good a couple spring trainings ago too. Okay, so let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. And in fact, let's do this. Here we go. I'm going to wait for the chat to explode because it's going to. Here's what I want the Reds to do. Roger and I talked about this over dinner at Bubba's 33 tonight. We'll shout out Bubba's 33. Great, the Monte Crispo, by the way. Go, just do it. We have Spencer Steer that can play first base. We have Key Brian Hayes that can play third base. You've got Marte that can play third base if he really has to, right? Nathaniel, David, whatever Lowe needs to make this team. And he can also play first base. I am going to say this. The Reds need to be smart business-wise in this season. The Reds need to send Sal Stewart down so that they can get another year of control out of him and then bring him up a month and a half into the season. After that, do the Chris Bryant that the Cubs did a few years ago. That's what the Reds need to do. That's the smart thing to do. Are they going to do that? I don't know, but that's the smart thing to do. Now I'm just going to lean back in my chair and listen to the two of you tell me how stupid I am. Go ahead.
Yeah, you want to go first, Ricky?
Yeah, Fred here, not happening. I think it's very slim chance that happens, mostly because of the power presence that he has. I'm not 100% opposed to it. I want to give the kid every opportunity to be successful. In recent years, they have, up until 2023, they've really done a bad job of giving their prospects the best position to succeed. We saw that with Jose Barrero. We saw that with Nick Senzel. You could almost argue Jonathan India. I feel like if I make a move, the move that I make would be to trade Ke'Bryan Hayes and just tell Suarez to play third every day. And then that way that opens up your DH spot for Lowe. And then you could have Steer play third if you have to in a pinch. Sal can play third also. And then like your DH is going to be a rotation of Stewart, Suarez, and Lowe. Even like Hines, like you could have an extra outfielder in Hines, and he can be your DH. And let's not forget, like Hines was taking ground balls last year at first base. In preparation, he's an infielder by trade. He was drafted as a third baseman, moved to the outfield early on in his pro career. And Roger's favorite guy, Francisco Urbaez, he can come up and he can play third, second base, first base a little bit. So I feel like I'd give it like a 10% chance that happens, to where they would send Stewart down. But I feel like if you're going to go all in, like you need as much firepower as you can get on offense. And I feel like Stewart we saw that home run he hit over the batter's eye the other day. I mean, he's got a ton of power, and he's got, Salbert Pujols stuff. We're excited about him. And, I like, if you do move him down, like, I guess that just gives Steer an everyday spot at a certain spot at first base, most likely. But I don't know. I don't see it. Roger?
0% chance, like Carrick says, basically, because Mike and I were actually talking about this at dinner as well. So shout out to Bubba33. If we take away the mirage of spring training, like, basically Santiago Espinal becoming Barry Bonds, Sal Stewart is the Reds' second best hitter by far. Like, I can't think of like who would be competing for the second. It's Ellie, then him. All these other guys, like Mike is saying, are like ifs. If McLean's back, if Marte can keep it going, if JJ Bidet can find his form, if TJ Friedel doesn't get hurt, you know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of question marks on a bunch of guys, except Sal Stewart, except Ellie De La Cruz for the offense. So finding him a position is a struggle, obviously. Yeah, but also there's the if factor with him. Is he going to be able to do this at age 35, right? Going into his 34 or 35 season. So we'd like to think 49 homers are coming our way, but there's a reason why I think maybe he ended up settling with just the 1-year contract with the mutual option, is because I'm not saying he's done, like he's Jamer Candelario, as we saw today. Jamer was actually playing pretty well out there. He actually, I think I told Mike as a joke, like, he might make this Angels team, and that I don't think is a compliment in any way, because this Angels team is horrible as far as I could tell. But anyway, the point being is that Sal Stewart, just on a pure hitting aspect, just on a pure being able to have a great eye up there and whatnot, and he has probably a better eye than even Ellie De La Cruz, to be honest with you. I don't think this is the situation that we're getting into, is that there's all these guys that are performing well. There's all these guys that are on contracts that, you'd have to move off of Hayes to make up some space. But there is the element of the injuries that could happen. Blake Dunn today hyperextended his knee, and that opens up a spot in the outfield, right? So that maybe then Spencer Steer is now listed as more as an outfielder than this hybrid first base, second base, outfield type guy. So we still got a lot more time to figure out exactly where Sal is going to be in this lineup, but he better be in this lineup opening day as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if they have to put him at second base just to get him in the lineup, or sit Key Brian Hayes a little bit more than they probably would like. It's a matter of getting the best hitters to give you a best chance to win the game, right? Like I get that Tito's old school with his run prevention stuff, but like you got to score to win. You can't win the game 0-0. So hopefully this all comes true and we have a situation that will be clearing the path for Sal Stewart to be opening day first baseman.
Yeah, and then you have to figure out, if you like you said, if you do send him down, like you got to figure out an everyday first baseman. You got to rearrange the lineup. You got to do all kinds of stuff and two things too. Like when Stewart came up, he only played in 18 games. He led the team in home runs that month. So that right there is a reason to have him in the lineup. And then two, kind of going back to McLean, like we all know what happened last year. He started out the first 3 weeks of the season really good and then just completely just unraveled. A lot of that to me is just shoulder injury, rehabbing from that, and then trying to relearn how to swing a bat. Like we can talk about it all we want. I had shoulder surgery 10 years ago. My shoulder's still not the same. I don't swing a bat every day. That's not my job. But for it to be your job and it not to be what it used to be and what it should be has got to be mentally draining. And we're seeing him, at least now that he is, hitting the ball, he's confident. Like you're seeing a smiling Matt McLean. And just that alone can be enough to put him back to at least being a league average hitter. And his rookie year, he finished fifth in rookie of the year voting, and he hit 290, so many home runs. And he still missed the final 3 weeks of the season with an oblique injury, and then he had a shoulder injury in spring training. So I feel pretty confident about Matt McLean coming back too. I don't think he's going to be as bad as he was last year. Probably not as good as he was his rookie year. I think we find some middle ground with him, but if he just improves off of last year, that's a huge addition to the offense also.
Okay, so let's just call this the if show, right? We're gonna keep doing this, right? So if Matt McLean can come back and you can have TJ Friedel, Matt McLean, Ellie De La Cruz, sign me up, right? If you can get a 260 Matt McLean that bats second and he's great with the bat, can drop a bunt if he wants. He can hit the ball to the opposite field if he wants. He has very good bat control. Again, give me that all day long. So then we're going to say, all right, so now you guys want to keep Sal Stewart. Where is he going to play? Is he going to play at third base and you're only going to bring in Key Brian Hayes in the 8th and 9th inning? Is he going to play over at first base and you're going to put a worse defensive person that you and all three people on this show know that our coach does not like to put a substandard defensive person at any position? So you're really going to think Terry Francona is going to put Spencer Steer in left field the entire day? He's going to be the left fielder? And then if he is, what about Blade? What about his name escapes me. I tried to get his autograph the other day, didn't. The guy we picked up from Florida.
Dane Myers.
Dane Myers. Thank you.
Myers.
Dane Myers. Where's he going to play? This is a good problem to have, but we have got a lot of players on this team that can play multiple positions, and we just got rid of a guy. Again, this is something that Roger and I because we've been here together for a couple of days now, 24/7. He's my work wife almost. But we've been able to talk about this too. I was mad. You can ask. I was mad when I read that we traded a certain player 2 days ago to the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm like, what are we doing? I love Tyler. What are we doing? But Are the Reds telling us something? We've got too many people that play too many positions. We don't need another hybrid guy that can play both the infield and the outfield. So we traded him for a pitcher that can go in the bullpen that we do need. Is that what they're trying to tell us? And if so, I'm not saying that it's what I want. I'm saying it's the smart thing to do is to put Stewart in the minors for a month and a half and then bring him back up.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight this. Stewart, yeah, he should be at first base most of the time. I feel like, Roger, I guess we could probably run through this, like probably our opening day lineup. They're facing Garrett Crochet, which I believe is a lefty, correct? So
Yeah.
if I had to run down a lineup, I'm not going to do batting order. Let's go by position. I'll do left field Steer, center field Friedel, right field Marte, first base Stewart, second base McLean, shortstop Ellie, third base Ke'Bryan Hayes, DH Suarez. I feel like that's their opening day lineup for that. And then I guess if you have to do a bench, you're going to have, I'm assuming Dane Myers makes the team. All these guys have options, though, which is good. Bleday has options. Dane Myers has options. Hines still has options. Benson still has options. Blake Dunn, obviously, he had the leg injuries. They're saying it's not as severe as what it could have been. He has options. So there's a lot of players that are going to be key pieces that have options. So I feel like your bench outfield depth, if I had to just name, I guess, what would we say, 2 outfielders, maybe 3, would be, I'm assuming Benson makes the team just based off the conversations that Francona has had about him. I'm going to assume Bleday and Myers make the team just for them trading for Myers and signing Bleday. So I think that leaves off Hines and why is his name escaping me? Dunn. So I feel like that, and then like what scares me though is just like the infield depth. Like there's not really a good, like if you have an injury in the infield, like you're shuffling around a lot of guys. Like if Ellie gets hurt, you're moving around McLean to shortstop, Steer moves from the outfield to the infield, and then you're just moving guys around. We don't really have like that utility infielder other than Steer, but he doesn't play shortstop. So I guess that would be my opening day kind of position by position group.
Yeah, I can even see the comment about putting Steer at first makes sense, but you also got to take into a fact that he also learned the position. It's not like he's Ke'Bryan Hayes where he had a Gold Glove to his name, putting him there. That being said, it's like, yes, I would platoon basically Stewart and Steer at probably first base, but then also I've been getting on the train with Carrick with like platooning Ke'Bryan, because if he's going to be a below average hitter, I get it, Gold Glover, right? But like if we need offense, like we did last April where we lost three consecutive games 1-0, like that's where Sal Stewart comes in and could be a difference maker, in my opinion. You don't have to play him every single day at third, but you should probably platoon out there, platoon at first. Like you said, good problems to have all these guys. I don't know. I find that Stewart is a lot more athletic than Spencer Steer. Spencer Steer is a decent player and all that, but I don't see him having really the range that Stewart could possibly have and grow into, being only a 21-year-old. Basically, playing the position for a month, less than a month. Like I think he only played first base when he came up, right? So he wasn't like being asked like a Senzel to move all around the infield. Now, I guess I'm setting up an example where he's going to be moved around all the infield, and that can maybe be an issue. But hopefully, developmentally wise, he'll be having his head on straight. He seems like a good kid and really focused on just being the best baseball player he can be.
Yeah, the main difference was with Stewart as opposed to Senzel is Stewart came up a second baseman, transitioned to third base in the minor leagues, and then learned first base on the fly. I think he played 1 game at AAA and then moved to first a little bit for the Reds.
Right.
With Senzel, he came up, a third baseman. They moved him to second base, and then they put him in the outfield, and then they put him back at third base, and then they put him in the corner outfield, which is just awful to do to somebody that's never played the outfield. I wanted to bring this up too. Michael Rolfe chimes in. He says,
I want this one.
Hot take: JJ Bleday will be a better player for the Reds the next 2 years than any outfielder not named Marte. I like that. I like that a lot. I can honestly see that. He has some pop. He played in a pitcher-friendly ballpark in Oakland the last 2 years, 3 years. I believe he also played in Miami, right, for a little bit.
Yes, he did. Started off his career in Miami. That's
Yeah.
correct.
So not the most ideal hitter ballpark for both teams that he's played with. I think this is his best opportunity to really kind of get the home run ball going. And if you look at his 24 numbers, he was a really good hitter. And he had 20 home runs, I think.
26, because I'm looking at him right now.
He was a really good hitter for Oakland in 24. And then I think he had some injuries, and then they had some prospects coming up they were really kind of excited about. So yeah, I do agree with that, and I am really excited about Noelvi Marte getting time in the outfield as his full-time spot. I think his comments that he's made about being out there, being able to kind of think about his at-bats more while he's in the field instead of kind of being more on his toes, being on the hot corner. I can see that being a thing as well.
Okay, so let me take this JJ Bleday thing. I said 26 a couple times, and you were right. I'm wrong. He was 26 years old in the 2024 season. But listen to these numbers: 43 doubles, 4 triples, 20 home runs, 60 RBIs. So if he bats 6th or 7th in the order, will you take those stats from a number 6 or 7 guy in the batting order?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Michael, I think you're right on it. I like the first name, too. I think you're right on this take. I love J.J. Bleday, especially for what we did to get him, which was nothing, right?
$1.4 million.
Again, pretty much nothing, right? So I think you're spot on with this. J.J. Bleday, we were sitting right behind in the beer garden in the first game. We watched J.J. Bleday go into a slide in that Dodger game and make one heck of a catch in the outfield in that Dodger game. Very athletic, very underrated outfielder. The problem is the only place I've seen him play is right. I don't know if he can play left. You guys know if he can play left or not? Because I don't know if he can or not.
I would think that he can. I feel like just get reps out there. I feel like if you can play a corner outfield spot, I think you can learn the other spot pretty well. Carrick, he chimed in his lineup action. So he's got outfielders Steer, Friedel, Marte, Myers, Bleday, and then he's got his infield has Sal, McLean, Ellie, Hayes, Lowe. Leaves a spot. I think that spot's Suarez. So
yeah, against might be taken.
Yeah. So what worries me is the infield depth because it feels like a lot of corner infield guys and then Ellie and McLean. So that's what kind of worries me. I think they might need to make a move somewhere. Whether that, like you said, is sending Stewart down, and then you kind of bring up or utilize another infielder. Like you could put Steer in the infield and have an outfielder out there like Benson or Hines as your outfielder. That maybe is your thing to do. I'm not sure.
How mad are you guys going to be if we get to this point and we could have used Tyler, but they traded him away? How upsetting are you going to be if we get to this? Okay, so we need another infielder. We need another shortstop. We need another second baseman. Now, I think Steer can be your second baseman. In fact, I think that's honestly his best position.
He says it's his favorite spot.
Mm-hmm. So I would not hesitate to put Steer at second base. But who's the backup? Who's Ellie's backup?
Edwin Arroyo.
Yeah, just say that was the comment I was going to make. Before Edwin Arroyo got optioned down to AAA, he was the guy that was going to be the Santiago Espinal utility guy that could put at second, short, be Ellie's backup, be McLean's backup, whatever they needed in the middle infield. But he still could be the first guy called up if there is an injury. I think the Reds really like Nathaniel Lowe, so what Carrick laid out seems to be the infield that we're going to have. It does leave it a little bit thin. It's almost the opposite of what we were going into in 2024, where the infield was crowded and we were looking for someone to get hurt, and McLean ended up getting hurt. But now we're in a situation where hopefully those two stay healthy And then, like, again, anything can happen in baseball, but we do have kind of that insurance policy with Edwin Arroyo a step away at AAA, and he's looked comfortable. Unfortunately, I think we were watching the game at the restaurant, Mike and I, but someone else was starting at shortstop for Puerto Rico, so we're like, and then also someone was starting for Suarez for Venezuela, so we're like, what are we doing here? These guys are going out to the World Baseball Classic and they're not even playing. Like, what do we? I understand that maybe if they got to get adjusted or there's some sort of hierarchy in their camp or what have you. But like, I would thought Suarez be in there right away, maybe not a third, but DH or something. I don't know what they were doing over there. And I think we're in a situation where we have a little bit of congestion. And I forgot about my guy. Yeah, Francisco Urbias could be the Santiago Espinal of 2026, and that would definitely make me happy and probably Carrick happy as well.
Yeah, we're a pro Francisco show.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, we saw him on the backfields. He was doing we were doing base running drills, and they had a couple guys that Mike made some comments about that looked like they'd never run in baseball in their life because it was we don't want to blast some guys, but one guy really did not slide well into third base, coming around second. It was kind of ugly, but there were some guys that were looking pretty good coming around the base though. Shout out Ruben Ibarra, Chattanooga Lookouts first baseman. Woo, was he trucking around second and getting in the third with a lot of momentum, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about.
He hit the bag. The bag moved over to the dugout.
No.
It did. It did.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about today's game. They lose to the Giants 6-3. They end their home run streak. They also ended their streak of not scoring more than like 10 runs. They had 8 hits today. Abbott gave up 5, so Abbott gave up almost as many hits as the Reds got. Marte goes 1 for 3. Dane Myers goes 1 for 2. Stewart goes 0 for 1 with a walk. Will Benson goes 0 for 2 with a walk. Tyler Stevenson 1 for 2 with the walk. Blade 1 for 3. Urbias 0 for 1 with a walk and a pinch hit appearance. And let's talk a little bit about the pitching too. There's been a lot of talk about the bullpen, right? We've talked about it a little bit. We're kind of banking on there being one spot available at the back end of the bullpen. We kind of have our big 6, I guess. That being Pagan, Santillan, Ashcraft, who has really struggled this spring. Who am I missing? Connor Phillips most likely makes the team, but he's really been bad this spring. Ferguson.
Sam Mole.
See, that's where I was going to get to. I don't think Sam Moll makes this team out of spring training. I don't see them carrying 3 lefties. And I know that he's the only one that doesn't have options, and I don't see what they do with that. Do they give him the spot just because he doesn't have options? Or do you feel like maybe he sneaks through waivers, or you try to trade him for something minor or something of that caliber? But I feel like TJ Antone has a legit shot to make this bullpen coming out of training. He pitched an inning today. He did allow a walk, but he had a strikeout to hit. And he's looked really good. I think he's looking comfortable. His velocity's back up. His curveball's working. You worry about the injury history. He does have 2 prior Tommy Johns. You worry about the next one. And, I kind of feel like they don't go 3 lefties. I just didn't know what you guys thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're leaving somebody out. Go ahead, Roger. Go ahead, buddy.
Right, so I'll let you get that one. I'm not terribly concerned about the bullpen because I think, like we've talked about a lot on this show, it's something that Terry Francona's had a real good grasp on. And I think the guys that he has in camp, he has the ability to pick and choose. If Sam Mole is a part of it, good, that's great for him. But you're right, having these 2 additions of Caleb Ferguson and Brock Burke have been looking pretty decent in the spring. I haven't seen them blown up yet, like how Santillan and Pagan were yesterday. But is again like a surplus. They can't have, like the phrase, you can't have enough good starting pitching. It seems like we can't have good enough relief pitching because Francona at times leans on these guys. So yeah, unfortunately, if Sam Mold doesn't have any more options, he will be probably the guy left out unless there's injuries, and then he can stay a part of this 26 man going into opening day, and that may be this kind of this situation we're headed toward. Because I mean, knock on wood, we're not wishing for injuries at all, obviously, and I think we've had a couple with again Blake Dunn today, and a little bit of injury scare with Hunter. That I mean, I think even when we were doing our 26 man roster show last year, Ricky, like there were some decisions at the last minute that they had to make, and I think they will down the road. At this point, I don't think we can really say one way or another if Sam Mold's going to be a part of this team. I hope he is, because he can be that Brent Suter mop-up role, come in when it gets real ugly and throw a couple innings to bridge to the bullpen. But I don't know. He hasn't necessarily wowed the world the last 2 years in terms of being on top of his game. 2023 seemed to be kind of peak Sam Moll, and hopefully he can get back to that this year. But we will wait to see.
Yeah, for sure. Mike?
I got a couple different things to say about this here for a second. I think you're leaving somebody out. They just traded. No. Well, Brock too. Yeah, you're right. Brock's in there, but they just traded for Kyle Nicholas.
That's him as well.
Kyle Nicholas does have an option. I was looking it up while you guys were talking. So the great thing about Kyle Nicholas here, he's 2 years away from arbitration, 5 years away from spring training, and does have a minor league option left. In his between 24 and 25 season, if you look at both, he's pitched right at 100 innings, 98, given up 92 hits, 51 earned runs, and his strikeout to walk is 53 to 96. It's not fantastic numbers, but you just traded for him. And as a lot of us know, that's kind of the politics behind a lot of these things, right? I'm the general manager. I just traded for this guy. No, you're not going to send him down. You make me look stupid. He has to stay on this roster, and he has to stay up there. And I think the other thing you guys are forgetting about here for a second, and why let's have this conversation. You can't have Burns, Louder, and Williamson in the starting rotation. What do you do with the ones that don't make the starting rotation? Depending on what happens with Hunter Green, of course, but you still got three of them. Do you option Williams back down? Do you option Louder back down? And if one of you says yes, then I'm going to go right back to my Sal Stewart argument. What are we doing here? What are we doing? What's best for the team? Are we doing what's best for to win the season? What are we doing? And if we leave Sal Stewart up and we option, let's say, Louder back down, can you really say we're doing what's best to try to win? I mean, come on. What are we going to do here?
So as far as rotation, I think Roger, you're having their laptop issue. If you need to do that, you can go ahead. I could cut you off, but I think as far as the rotation goes, I think Williamson is undoubtedly going to start in Louisville for sure. Just rehab. He missed all of last year, and you want to get him back comfortable in low pressure situations. And depending on the Hunter Green situation, if Hunter Green misses the first, let's just say 3 weeks of the season, like you have a rotation of Burns and Louder in there in the final two spots. And that honestly may not be a bad thing. I think that might be an underrated thing that may be like, yeah, you're missing Hunter Green, but you're also getting your two top pitching prospects in the rotation. But I agree with you. Like, there's only so many spots. What do you do with these spots? There's a lot of decisions to be made, and if there's one thing we got to do is we got to trust that we got to hope that Brad Meador and Nick Kroll and Terry Francona make the right choice and have these guys ready to go and in the right spots be the most successful.
I feel pretty confident in the rotation, even without Hunter Green, to be honest with you, because we've had kind of a lot of draft and develop and getting some guys in there that we have the depth, I feel. Not necessarily to have the same stuff, and I think we were talking about this a little bit, Mike, earlier, that they might not have the stuff that Hunter has at his peak, but isn't the whole adage availability is the best ability? Like, basically, if we got guys that – I know Louder's coming off Mason almost all of 2025, Aguiar, Williamson, on that same UCL, Tommy John Boat. But if they come back stronger, which is sometimes the case with Tommy John guys, I don't mind seeing the top of the rotation being Abbott, Lodolo, Singer, and then we throw in Burns and then Louder. Sign me up for that. Like I know that's not necessarily as sexy as having Hunter be at the top of that, but to be honest with you, those guys, I think they still can get the job done in a major way, and it works out. I think to the Reds' advantage that they have these guys that could step in at any time. Aguiar or Williamson are waiting there in AAA, and we're not even talking about Chase Petty, a guy who is obviously kind of coming back from a little bit of setback last year and in the minors. But if he can get his confidence back up, and the 6-man rotation in Louisville is just as crazy as the rotation that we have in the majors that Carrick's pointed out. Williamson, Petty, Franco, Aguiar. And your guy Acuna. I think Mike's got a Jose Acuna story that he was talking about him signing autographs for some kids and whatnot. And we saw him out there with Trevor working out with the AA Chattanooga guys, Kevin Abel, Hunter Parks, all those Chattanooga guys were out there kind of working out when we saw our guy Trevor Kunsel. What was that yesterday? Gosh, feels like 2 days ago. Yeah.
You're just having so much fun out here. It feels like it's never going to end, sir.
Like I said, I'm so close to baseball. I don't know what else is going on in the world. So it's really kind of intense stuff out here. But it's going to be a good rotation, I think, either way.
We've got a comment on Instagram. Our friend of the show, Ethan, asked, "Have you seen Kian Vu yet in Arizona?"
Yes.
All right. Sorry, Mike, to cut you off before my computer dies. But, yeah, saw Kian Vu today. They had a really short session today. We got out there, what, Mike, like 9:30, 9:45? Mm-hmm. And they were done in an hour. Yeah, we were a little bit late. But we knew that they were going to be traveling to Scottsdale today. Yep. So travel day, so that they, I guess, generally don't have as much workout. We saw Kian today. He says he's having a pretty good spring. He's feeling strong and all that. We didn't have really too much time. He was literally walking off the field when I saw him because they were just finishing up around 10:45 this morning. We'll hopefully see him again tomorrow. We didn't say Trevor today. I don't know if he pitched at all. We couldn't say. There wasn't much. They were doing a lot more live batting sessions, like even the majors. Like the video that I shot of Ellie, that was on the minor league fields that he was working out. He was going up against Ethan Sikorsky. Just to get some BP. Same thing with CES, Matt McClain, stuff like that. So it was kind of a minor league day for a lot of these guys. But yeah, it was kind of cool to see all these guys out there. I want to say that like we saw Cam Collier, Jay Allen. I think Mike saw Jay Allen walking across and stuff like that. So it was a minor league day for us today, and there'll be another minor league day tomorrow. So we'll hopefully be able to check out some more guys and let you know how they're doing and how they're feeling. So.
Yeah, I mean, that was great back there. I'm really, really, really liking this. I'm really liking having Roger with me because a lot of these minor league guys I don't know near as well, right? And Roger's like, oh, that's this guy, and this is that guy, and that's this guy, and this. Okay. So now I have to get my pictures together because a lot of them don't have cards and stuff that you can get a hold of. So now I'm going to have to get some pictures together, and there's a pharmacy right across the way from me that'll be our best friend, but they haven't really done anything for me, so I'm not going to shout them out. But there's one of them on every corner out here in Arizona. It's the land of the retirees. So yeah.
Let's say, where's that Jose Acuna story that you remember him signing autographs for kids?
Absolutely. Another guy that I'm probably going to follow some more, Jose Acuna. This is the stuff that spring training's made of. And you guys don't understand, back on the minor league fields, the minor league guys, especially the AZL guys and the single A and even up into the double A guys, they just walk around like you and I walk around, right? They're in their Reds gear and they're just walking, and you get to walk right up to them. The Australian guy that we saw today that hopefully you guys can get on your show soon. I mean, that was a fantastic experience. As far as the Acuna goes, there's a little boy that went up to him and was talking to him. And Acuna took his bag off his shoulder, put it on the ground, got down with the little kid and was talking to the little one. And the little kid handed him a baseball, probably not knowing who this guy is, right? And he wrote not just his signature on that baseball, he wrote some kind of message on that baseball. And to have a guy do that take the time with a little child, that kid's going to remember that for the rest of his life. And that's what this spring training thing is all about. I remember these stories you'll be able to ask me this story, as long as I don't have to go into a nursing home, and you'll be able to ask me this story, right? And I'll be able to tell you all these autographs and stuff that are behind me, and you can't see but only about 20% of them. I can tell you where I was. Yeah, I remember that. I remember where I was when I got this autograph. I remember what I was when I got that autograph. And that, again, that in my opinion is what these spring training games and stuff are made of, is to be able to do something like that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I like hearing those kind of stories. It's because that's what it is about. You see, like, you got to remember these players are human beings too, and I think some players maybe forget that sometimes. I follow a bunch of minor league players on our Instagram page, Red Hot Reds Pod on Instagram. Johnny Asasiano, he was in Dayton for a little bit last year, got promoted to Chattanooga. I'm seeing a lot of him sharing a lot of stories of like people tagging him and stuff. And I don't know how good this is going to come through on here because I can't really pull it up because we're live streaming on Instagram. But this here, like that,
you can see it well.
That's what you love to see. I know Carlos Sanchez, the Reds' 28th ranked prospect. He you see a lot of promotional video of the Dragons and where he's high-fiving little kids in the stands. Like that's what it's all about, Like it's really fun seeing that, like those kind of stories.
Yeah.
We got Roger. He's switching computers. Had a laptop battery die. Mike, let's talk a little bit more about. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Since you live in Arizona, I think are you a Suns fan?
Yes. You're going to talk about probably the arrest today, right?
No, I was going to talk about this. We got Ellie De La Cruz courtside at the Suns game with his girlfriend. Ellie De La courtside.
Ellie De La courtside. I like it. He can afford those tickets. I cannot. That's the first thing. I was happy yesterday when Roger and I got to go to the second game, and I was able to use a site, and I'll shout them out real quick. First Ticks. I'm a first responder in the job that I do, so I have some perks and been able to do that. We got like 2 tickets for a little less than $10 yesterday. And that was fantastic. So there he is again. Look at that. A Suns jersey, 44.
He sank a free throw. It's not the best TV, but it is kind of cool seeing LA out there kind of doing fun stuff like that. A little side quest from just baseball.
Well, that's the thing that he can bring to the Reds, not just his talent on the field, his name and notoriety off the field. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. That's what Albert Pujols used to bring. That's what all these kind of guys used to bring. And the Reds haven't had anybody like that probably since Barry Larkin.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, like maybe let's see. Ryan Friel was pretty good with the fans.
Just with the fans,
giving back and stuff. Because
the crossover, right?
Yeah.
If
as far as star power, yeah, Barry Larkin for sure.
If Spencer Steer sits courtside at the Suns game, nobody knows.
You're not
who
really
he is.
talking about it.
Yes, and that's what Ellie can bring to this team: star power.
For a couple more years, anyway.
Quiet.
Roger, I don't know if you saw that or not, but Ellie was courtside at the Suns game today in Phoenix.
Is that right? I did make a
That's
joke
why-
to Mike that at the Dodgers Reds game, both fan bases were super happy when Ellie hit that home run outside the stadium. Like, nobody was upset because they're like, oh, well, this will be coming to us in a couple days or a couple years, and then the Reds are just enjoying all the moments. Who's his friend next to him? Is that his girlfriend?
Yeah, the lady's his girlfriend. I'm not sure who the guy to his
Is that the girl
Right,
that's
it's
supposedly
his,
from?
yeah.
Is that the girl supposedly from Southwest Ohio?
Yeah, she's the one who's gonna keep him in Cincinnati forever.
See, Mike, there's a chance.
There's a
I'm
chance.
not doom and gloom like you guys are. I'm saying he's going to stay. I mean, you guys are dooming and glooming him. Roger keeps dooming and well, Cheese actually is the one that keeps doing it to me. He keeps dooming and glooming next year's baseball season as a whole, saying that's not going to happen. I mean, yeah, we need some more positivity around here on All Gloves Off Sports Media.
I would rather be doom and gloom and then be surprised when the extension notification pops up on my phone.
Okay. I'm going to try to go the other way. We'll see what happens.
We need a salary
I don't know.
cap.
I don't know where you guys want to go from here.
You act like you've never hosted this show before.
Yeah, we didn't really plan it out. I guess we could talk about some. You talked about Drew Davies a little bit. How was it talking with him? And I know you mentioned that he might be a future guest.
Yeah. I just walked up to him. I guess I talked to Mike and kind of joked about this with him because I've been trying to figure out what I would say to the guys in Spanish so I don't make a fool of myself of like in front of Hansel Jimenez and Moises Castillo and all that. So I'm working up my courage to talk to them tomorrow and whatnot. But Drew Davies was there. I thought for sure he got an invite from Team Australia. So I opened up the conversation asking him about if he's been watching Team Australia because they've been playing pretty well. Travis Balzana had that. He went off on Chinese Taipei and Stuart Fairchild's team, so that was nice to see to kick off the Classic with a couple bombs. But for the most part, like it's just all these guys. It's kind of hard to keep a track of them, to be honest with you. So when I did see him, because he's pretty tall and he wears number 80, and that's pretty easy to pick out of a lineup. And he actually, I think he said something a bit controversial. He thought there was a guy in Australia's lineup that's actually better than Benzana, a guy named Curtis Mead. So, and he said he works out with him in the offseason. So, I mean, hey, coming from his life, he knows Australian baseball probably better than us. But I told him that we were keeping tabs on him in the ABL and congratulated him on his Rising Star or Rookie of the Year. I forget what they call their Rookie of the Year for ABL. So he seemed pretty excited, and yeah, hopefully we can hit him up and get him to talk about some baseball. I know these guys are at that apartment complex, probably right next to the practice field. So maybe they have some free time in the next couple days. We could hit them up and chat them up and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. Because he had a really good season last year. I think it was last year. It was his debut season with the organization. He started out in the Arizona League, and then he made it up to Daytona. When all the other guys came up, and he played primarily first base. I think he took over from McChrystal at first base when McChrystal got moved up to Dayton. Speaking of McChrystal, did you run into him at all?
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned him. I mean, we did meet up with him. Mike saw him too, and Mike has yet to hear the podcast that we did about Faith and him. So we got to get on Mike to catch up on our episodes. I mean, he's always championing us. We really appreciate him getting our name out there. But he didn't even hear the podcast that I thought would be right up his alley. We talk about some really deep subjects with
we got
not only Ryan,
got deep on that one.
Yeah, but not only Ryan, but also Cecilia, his fiance. Where Ryan was talking about that Cecilia is there with him and whatnot, but she's not a real big fan of Arizona. Except they did get out and did a scramble with John Michael Fail, another Dayton Dragon, and I guess his significant other. And they, I guess, had a really good round between him and Cecilia to beat those two in a golf scramble. So, and he actually, when I asked him about his golf game, I think that's when he lit up the most because he was like really excited to talk about. Because I bet he's going every single day to fill up his day when he's not out there on the fields and whatnot. So but he seems to be in a good spirits. He feels like he's in a good spot and whatnot, and yeah, he seems like he's like that dry humor also came out. Talking about that the only water that is in Arizona is wherever his golf ball finds. So there's that as well.
Yeah.
But
Mike,
yeah,
a little
he seemed
inside
good.
baseball. A little inside
Yeah,
baseball
exactly.
on McChrystal. Every episode we've done with him, we've had to do multiple edits. Whether it's the recording crashing, his phone dying, and losing internet, or their dog tearing up everything. Like it was a he's the one we've had to do the most editing with twice now. It's all fun though.
Yeah,
He
that's
was a
why
good to
Ricky
talk
gets
to.
paid
I
the big
mean,
bucks
really,
to edit all.
I was just going to say he was really
Go
good to
ahead,
talk
Mike.
to.
Sorry.
Really seemed like a down to earth guy, so that's fantastic for him. But I'm gonna, if we're going to talk about bad things that people do, like I don't watch certain episodes of your podcast that I need to. We need to get Roger. He needs to work on asking for the sale. He needs to be a better salesperson over here. And hey, when we talk to these guys on the minor league fields, ask can we contact you? Can we interview you? Because you guys as fans want to hear from these guys, and you need to do some more interviews like that, buddy. So, I don't know who the other guy that was with you today that actually asked for the interview for you, but that guy's really sexy. And then, hey, I want to give this to you, and I'm gonna set Roger up to do it because it's his guy, you guys' guy, right? Trevor Kunsel, correct? That's how you say it. He gave us some breaking news about the game tomorrow. Roger, I'll sit back and let you tell everybody what's going on in that game tomorrow.
Yeah, the game out there in Surprise, where I think they're playing against the Royals, the Reds, I believe, Mike. They're going to have Trevor pitch in that game, so hopefully we'll be able to get out there and watch him throw an inning. I think he's going to be on the scheduled pitchers. I don't think he's going to be like one of the backups that may or may not get in. So that'll be kind of good. We're going to be out there, document it, get maybe even a signature or two or whatnot if we can after the game to see him and whatnot. But shout out to also to Trevor. He also got us passes to get inside basically where the major leaguers and the complex is. So really appreciative of him doing that. And he kind of got really up close with I actually talked to Andrew Evans' dad for a bit. We talked up some security guards, guys that have been working there all the time. So it was kind of cool to just be behind the fence where all the, as Mike would call it, the normal people are.
Mm-hmm. We even got to talk to Paul. We were in Paul's place today at Goodyear Ballpark. There's a usher that's been there for 9 years, and he's always in the same one or two sections right there. He calls it Paul's place, and we got to talk to Paul, and he gave us some insight too. We can't tell you what that is because we swore to secrecy on the insight that he gave to us. But right, we got to keep that one quiet. But those are the kind of relationships that I've made, being out here for so long, and I'm sure you guys are going to make, and it's a great time just to be able to be out here and be with like-minded individuals and just talk baseball, the greatest sport in the world.
Yeah, and kind of talking about the prospects in that aspect, us building up that relationship with these guys through, direct messages on Instagram or Twitter or wherever it may be. Learning about why Pablo Nunez isn't even there yet. He had a visa issue. That's why he's not in Arizona. He'll be in Arizona tomorrow morning. And Roger, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but Hansel Jimenez is on the top 30 prospect list as of yesterday.
I heard after they traded
so
Tyler
they added
Callahan,
him.
right?
He's the 30th ranked prospect in the Reds organization, and having that connection with these kids, through Instagram or whatever, messaging him to congratulate him, and getting that feedback from him, and him getting that feedback from me, which I don't want to talk about myself, but just kind of having a little bit of credibility with writing for Reds on SI. Like I can write about these people, and then they can share like, hey, this guy, I did this, and some person for a publication wrote about it, and it can get views because it's SI and not some other smaller publication or a blog or whatever it may be.
No, wait. You work for SI?
Maybe.
Maybe. So So let me help you all do something that the two of you never do. I'm going to force you to do it on this episode of the Red Hot Reds podcast. Yes, I am. So Ricky, where do you write, and where can people get you at where you write at? Go ahead, tell us.
I need to start putting it on our thumbnails is what I need to start doing.
Yeah.
Reds Talk, Cincinnati Reds Talk on X, Cincinnati Reds Talk on all social medias, redsonsi.com.
Roger also does a lot of stuff for Substack. He writes some great stuff. We actually talked about some of the things he wrote sitting in the car the other day, eating a certain restaurant that I don't want to plug on the air, but they don't pay us, so I don't plug them. But Roger does a great job writing not just Red stuff, but Roger has a really good talent at getting a story and then putting the Reds twist on it for you guys. So Roger, where do you write at? Tell them how people can get a hold of you.
Yeah, it's the redhotreds.substack.com, and I just try to put up there once or twice a month. I'm not as prolific as Ricky is and some of his cohorts there at SI, man. They
Prolific's a very strong word for me.
You get it in. I mean, you're the minor leagues guy there, just like you're here, the minor leagues guy. The Red Hot Reds covering the DSL all the way up to the AAA team. So, like, we're trying to carve out our niche, I guess, is what we're trying to do here. And hopefully you guys will come along for the ride for that. I know a bunch of the guys that we talk to follow us on this stuff, and we really appreciate their support. And we're trying to help them get, their publicity out, like Ricky said, tell their stories. Because, for one, Trevor Kunzel's story, the one that kind of kicked it all off in September, this kind of new venture of focusing on the minors, his story is amazing. Going from a shortstop in high school and then college, converting at like a sophomore to pitching, and then since then going to indie ball and now affiliate ball. And our prediction is that he'll be probably AAA, a step away from the majors. So we're riding that Trevor Kunzel train all the way to Cincinnati.
Yeah, if he has a good start to the season in AAA, he's an injury away from getting called up, and he's young enough to where he can make a difference long term, and that's exciting. Not only for us as fans of the team, but for him having a career with the Reds at the major league level, and that's just a dream come true. And kind of having this relationship with these guys as they're coming up is fun because you can see their development as people and not just as players also.
Absolutely. And then now here's something else. I'm not done yet. They think I'm done. Like I'm done shouting these two guys out, but I'm not. All right. So they've had this Red Hot Red show for quite a while. Just had their 1 year anniversary a couple weeks ago. So shout out to the both of you for doing that. But now you also are going to start doing a show on Mondays that's actually going to focus on the Reds minor league system, right? This excites me because I know a lot about the Reds system. I don't know as much about the minor league system, and I can't wait to learn from two people that I feel like I already have a relationship with, and I know our fans feel the same way. So, gentlemen, tell me what this new show is going to do and the venture you guys are going to get into.
Yeah, Roger, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, we usually at our Sunday shows would highlight the minors, and it ended up being, a bigger and bigger segment, so much so that we wanted to kind of really dedicate a whole hour to the minors, and we're going to call it Minor League Mondays. And Ricky's already kind of working on the stuff behind the scenes, the graphics and intros and whatnot. We're basically going to cover everybody, like we talked about before, from the DSL all the way up to AAA, how they're doing, what they're progressing on, maybe get some players to make some comments, see how they're doing and whatnot for the show. But it's going to be fully dedicated to minors. And as I was telling you, Mike, no one, as far as we can tell, from all the way over to, East Coast to the West Coast, is going to cover the Reds minor league system in a podcast form like we are. So we're really rolling out the Reds carpet, if you will. It coming out soon, and I think our official, we're going to try to roll out on the 23rd of March will be our first show, I believe. So keep an eye out for that. It will be covering, I think, either a AAA, a AA team, what their rosters look like and what we should expect from those guys, the bats and the lookouts this year.
And Carrick, we really appreciate those kind words.
Yeah, but they're true words.
Yeah,
they really are. So what time on Monday, gentlemen? Do you know what time?
Same time as normal should be.
Yeah,
I'm assuming 8
o'clock usually.
8
So
o'clock
then it
ish.
ends in, so whatever time it is, it ends in ish, right?
Yeah, and I have a really cool intro made up for it that I'm really kind of proud of.
Okay.
Took a lot of work. It's a long one, so you gotta be in the mood for it. But little insight. It's intro. It's player highlights of minor league players. Of you know, I think Kean View's first professional home runs on there. Um, there's a Alfredo Duno home run, and of course I had to end it with my boy Austin Hendrick with his walk off
We saw him.
double for Chattanooga in
Yeah,
June, where he had a
he was
four
working
for
on
four game.
he was working on his base running today, so he's out there getting his work in today.
We saw him the day before too. He looked nice.
I would love to talk to him. From what I understand of him, he would be an awesome one to talk faith with about too. He's very
Really?
open about his faith on his social media, so he would be a really cool one to talk faith about with too.
We'll have to try to approach him tomorrow.
Yeah,
Check it out.
well, one of us will.
Yeah, because I know like with Kunzel, like he had nothing but great things to say about him when we talked to Trevor back in September. You know, which was fun because when I wrote about Hendrick, about the season that he had, it was his best season as a pro. You know, I mean, we can kind of talk about his backstory. Like, he gets drafted in 2020. You know, his senior year of high school baseball gets canceled because of COVID. His first professional baseball season gets cut short because of COVID, and then they reshuffle the minor leagues. He doesn't even get a play in the ACL. He goes straight to low A in Daytona, and he had a lot of power in Daytona, but then like the average just didn't happen. I feel like there was a lot of development stuff that just didn't happen with him. Adjusting the wood bats, becoming a man. You're 18 when you get drafted, and now he's 23, and I'm not giving up on him. I think he could be a contributor. He's not going to be that player we all wanted him to be as a first round pick, but if he can turn into a depth piece at the major league level at some point, like that's the most ideal thing for him.
All right, so let's do this, man. Let me play host for a second, like I do on the Lights Out Sports podcast. So you guys are the big minor league guys, right? Give me someone who's not on the 40-man roster right now, who I would qualify as a minor leaguer, right? Someone that's not on that 40-man. Give me someone that you really think can make a difference in the Reds this upcoming season from their minor leagues. Who is that going to be? Whether it be, maybe he moves up from single A to triple A or something like that, to where, let me put it to you this way. This is the guy that I would watch if I'm looking at the Reds minor league system. Who's that guy? Ricky, I'll start with you. Who's that guy?
Pablo Nunez.
Why? Why is it?
He is a scrappy little ball player that puts everything he has into every single play that he has. He's got a cannon for an arm. He set the record for the highest on-base percentage in the DSL last year. I think he had 531 was his on-base.
Okay.
Really good average. Reminds me a lot of Ryan Friel, just the way he plays. Left-handed hitter. He's probably going to start in the ACL, but I firmly believe that he could probably play 2 levels this year. Like, he might go from the ACL to Dayton. I think that's how good he is.
Okay, so yours is Pablo Nunez, right? Roger, same question. Who's your guy? Who do we need to watch in the Reds minor league system, according to Roger?
And you're talking about a guy that'll impact sooner than later, or are you talking about because I think Pablo's kind of farther down there. There's a couple guys kind of in that category.
Right, so then give me somebody who's gonna be up here sooner than Pablo. Then someone that the Reds can watch and they can expect within the next 2 to 3 years.
I say Cam Collier. Cam Collier, I think, is going to have a real big season. And, even though he didn't necessarily, make it in the big league camp, he got optioned down recently, but he seems ready to be back. And I know there's kind of also a log jam at third base, first base, where he's kind of at, but I think he has the talent and the bat, like the eye for hitting. that will allow him to be a major leaguer sooner than later.
Okay. He was just in the Arizona Fall League, has an infectious personality, big time smile. Roger got to come out during spring training. Maybe we can bring Ricky out for the Arizona Fall League and we can start doing, one for spring and one for fall. So that's what I'll wish for. I've had a really great time with Roger here in Arizona, and I want to do the same thing with Ricky. You guys know my home is always open to you guys. You guys can come out anytime you want. I also like this from, what is it, Carrick?
Yeah.
Kyle, right? I haven't seen him play yet. He's the guy, Roger, correct me if I'm wrong. He's the guy that's the third guy in the picture that I have that I just got put into the 8x10, right?
Yeah, he was a reserve player for the Dodgers Reds game, but he didn't get in. But he was all about that celebration when they got that win with Reed Hines.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, I agree with Carrick's next comment too. Anthony Steffen's a player that no one talks about. He went on a streak. I think he had like a 12 or 18 game hitting streak last year. It was a pretty significant hitting streak, and he looked really good. I guess kind of leaving the obvious one out. I'm really excited about Alfredo Duno. I think he has a legit chance to play. If he starts out in Dayton, I think he finishes the year in AAA. I think he can. I think he can advance. I think Double A is just going to be a stopgap. I think he's gonna get up quick, and I don't think they rush him. I think he'll play in AAA next year too, depending on the whole season situation. But the video you took of him.
Roger got a great video of him.
Gosh, man, he is such a large human being. And just the effortless power that he has is incredible. And the stories that we hear about him behind the plate, like Jonathan Harmon saying that he's really good at calling a game, which is really good for a 19-year-old catcher. Like I'm excited about him. And then obviously, Kyle Henley, like he's in our intro video for his 50th stolen base. So he's a speedster for sure.
And we talked to Duno. He was just kind of going past us, so it's not like we can, jump in front of him, and I jump in front of that guy anyway. He just going to run me over, and I'm a pretty good-sized guy. But he stops, talks to you. Hey, how you doing? I was like, hey, Alfredo, how you doing? He's like, oh, I'm doing great, and you? And it's like, good. And we had a 15-second conversation, enough to go, wow, I like this guy, and they're personable with you, and just like you guys are in your interviews and stuff. That's what makes this game great. I love to sit here and watch a team and say that guy's a good player. But I would rather sit here and watch a team and say, I remember when I met that guy back in 2026 on the backfields of the Reds complex and and I can tell that story. That's even better. And that's what the Red Hot Reds is doing for a lot of our fans out there, is bringing those stories to light and bringing those people to light. That's a fantastic thing you guys are doing. And I get money for this, by the way.
For sure, yeah. We're paying Mike. He's our lead advertiser, lead head of marketing right now.
Right.
I don't even know where the interview idea really came from. I knew it was one of the origins from the show. Like we wanted to have it originated with Tom Brenneman just kind of reaching out, and it took a little bit to hear back from him. It took a little bit to hear back.
Yeah. I think, sorry to interrupt, Ricky. I think actually it started before that. I think we had a podcast goal to interview Joey Votto. I think that was top of the list.
Yeah, that was
and anybody else below Joey Votto, we'd be all right with.
Yeah, and
you may as well start your expectations out high, for gosh sakes, guys. I mean, geez.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well start with the best Red of this generation. Yeah, it started with Votto for sure, and then it kind of transitioned into let's get Tom Brenneman on. I kind of have a relationship with him already, and then it turned into what if we can get some guys on like Justin Latta, who covers the Guardians on Locked On Guardians. If we can get, having a relationship with some of the Chatterbox guys, getting Nick Kirby on, getting Reed Mouse on, who is a avid Cubs fan, which is hilarious. Getting Elliott on, which Elliott's just a great dude. And then it turned into, Greg Kuffner, having a relationship with him, Clay Snowden. He covers the Reds on Just Baseball. And then, getting the opportunity with James with the Reds on SI and getting him on, because most people know James for the Bengals and his coverage of the Bengals. And a lot of people don't know that he writes a lot about the Reds too. He owns the domain for redstalk.com and whatnot. Avid Reds fan. And then just kind of transitioning into, we always wanted to have players on, but I think we kind of eyed major league talent to begin with. And then Trevor was the first player that followed the show, if I remember right. And I thought about it for like a month. It was in my head, like, I'm going to DM this guy. I'm going to DM this guy. And then one day I was just at work and I was like, you know what, screw it. And I sent him a message. I was like, hey man, if you're ever interested in coming on the show, I'd love to have you on. And it was within 10 seconds. He's like, I would love it. I was like, dude, let's go. And then, that turned into Ryan McChrystal, just hearing stories about him on social media. And then Kian Vu, who was drafted this year. So, and that kind of sparked our interest in the minor leagues even more than what we already had, because we had, our traditional Sunday show was, recapping the Reds week that was, and then we would have, our 3 up, 3 down segment, which was our 3 best performing prospects and our 3 worst performing prospects of the week. And then after so many episodes, it went from 3 up, 3 down to about 12 up, 4 down, so we were like, kind of talking about it in the off season. It was like, it would be a really cool idea just to have a designated minor league show. And there's no better day to do it than on Monday, because there's no minor league games on Monday. And just having the name Minor League Monday just fit.
All right, so you guys are plugging all your stuff. Let me do a little bit of this real quick. All right, so this coming Sunday, Cheese and I are going to have a free agency special that we're going to have here on the program. You can get it here on everything that we do here with All Gloves Off Sports Media on our YouTube. And then I want to plug this real quick. Tommy Bennett, a guy that you guys both know, and Roger knows this because he was privy to this conversation that Tommy and I were having earlier. He and I are going to start doing a fantasy baseball podcast. We will focus. Oh, look at it! Even putting noise effects, sound effects in the background. Look out! So we're gonna do that too. So All Gloves Off Sports Media is really starting to take off. We've got 2 great gentlemen over here that are helping us out. What about this NASCAR? Oh no, wait! I can't ask you about the NASCAR show yet. What I have to ask you about: why do you still have hair? That's what I have to ask you about.
I told him about the Jamer Candelario stuff.
We were at the game today with Jamer Candelario, who actually looked halfway decent today. And then Roger tells me this story that we have video proof of, by the way, so don't be trying to get out of it, where you said you would shave your head, and then this thing all came to fruition, and suddenly somebody still has hair. Please explain, Ricky Logan.
So you missed it, Mike. I did shave my hair shortly after it happened. It took a little bit, but I did it. It just grew back. My hair grows back fast.
Is that what it is? From 1 week to the next week, it all grew back.
When did he get DFA'd?
It was right after his rehab start was about to be up. I want to say late May, late April, maybe beginning of May, somewhere around that time, I want to say. Because he went on the IL for like 10-day IL, and then basically was about to come back, and they had to make a decision. And they made a decision.
And then Ricky made his decision.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure it's out there.
Over here on the comments, there's a lot of people watching us live right now. So over here on these comments over here, I want you to help me. Shave your head. Come on. Shave your head. Yeah. Shave your head. Own up to what you said you were going to do.
I did it.
We need to do this like live. In fact, we need to get somebody who's like a professional at this to shave your head. That's you need to look like me. I mean, come on. It's not that bad of a look.
Trying to
The
go
blind
back and
people.
find the episode. But yeah, I mean, who in their right mind thought the Reds were going to DFA Jeimer Candelario? Like,
Okay, I'll
all
give
the
you that.
money he was owed, like, it
And it's
didn't
still
make
owed.
sense. Yeah, and they owe him $15 million this year, plus I think a $3 million buyout next year. Breaking news, guys! Breaking news.
What's that?
Stuart Fairchild hit a grand slam.
Against who? Who are they playing?
I don't know who they're playing.
Chinese Taipei.
Czech Republic.
I thought that was last night. I'm getting all screwed up. Days are getting together.
Whoever CZE is.
Czechia. Yeah, Czech Republic. Okay. All right. How about
Stu's
that?
back.
Breaking news. Stu is back. That is crazy. That is crazy. Maybe the Reds will sign him. Oh wait, no, he's already in the Guardian system, right? Anyway.
Yeah, he'll be the Will Benson of the Guardians.
Gosh. Oh, right. That's a great thought. Seeing him go do a Santiago Espinal revenge game. That'd be cool.
Oh man, that'd be brutal.
All right. Thank you guys. I don't know what else you got left. I don't know how many more laptops I could use.
If you haven't seen the play yet, I just put it up on our X account. That is, by the way, it's All Gloves Off SM on our X account. Manny Machado made a dynamic play in the World Baseball Classic. It's up top of the 8th inning. Dominicans up 6-3 over Nicaragua, and he made just watch it. That's all I'm going to say. Just go over to our spot and watch it. That's absolutely insane.
Nice.
I think I just saw it kind of creeping through, trying to find that Fairchild home run.
Yeah, I was kind of looking for it too, to be honest with you.
It's crazy. He is such a great defensive third baseman that came up as a shortstop. It's kind of like what the conversation behind Ellie is, right? Everybody wants to see him move to the outfield. I think third base is more of his future. I think I'd rather see him move to third than the outfield if we could avoid the outfield. He's got the arm for it. He's got the range for it. Like, if you could avoid the extra risk of running 28 miles per hour into a wall or into somebody else, like, I would rather avoid that if I can.
Then a 17-year-old pitcher, Joseph Contreras, just got Aaron Judge to hit into a inning-ending double play in the World Baseball Classic as well. That's a nice scene. You can catch that out. I just put that over on our account as well. So yeah,
and
nice
Shohei
stuff going on.
Ohtani had a grand slam today too.
I don't care about Shohei. Can't stand the guy. That would be on our stuff.
But yeah, I guess we could probably wrap it up. If you guys don't have anything else, thanks everybody that's tuned in on the chat. Carrick, Fred, Michael. I think it's our usual crew. Michael being a newcomer. Shout out Michael for joining us on Twitter today.
Yeah.
You guys are having a blast out there in Arizona. I'm pretty jealous. Let's go. Hopefully get a good outing tomorrow. You guys, I sent a care package out for you guys. Hopefully we can get some content out of that.
Yeah.
I know that
we're gonna get some content. Mike's going to eat it. That's what we're going to get content on.
I'll
we
film
got for sure. I know that I told Moises Castillo about it. He's pretty excited. I didn't tell him what it was. I just told him I got a gift from Cincinnati for him. So
we'll hit him up. I know where he generally is in the backfields now because they keep like the certain ACL guys together, or the DSL guys together, and
I think he's number 48 too. So if that helps.
Yeah. They're all like hang out together. You can tell where the Dominican guys hang out, so I'll probably be able to find them pretty easy.
Mike, you got anything you want to plug before we sign off?
No, I mean, just the regular stuff. Like I say, this coming Sunday, Cheese and I are going to do, if you're a big football guy, we're going to do where we think a lot of these free agents are going to land. So we'll do a show about that. We're, a Lights Out Sports podcast. Wait, hang on, let me say it correctly. The Lights Out Sports podcast. And we'll we'll do that on Tuesday evening, of course. So stay tuned with all of that. We've got you guys. We've got a lot of other stuff going on right at the moment. We're making some new shows. You guys are going to do Minor League Monday. Me and our buddy Tommy's going to do a show on fantasy baseball stuff. We are looking at doing a bunch of different avenues right at the moment. So I'm just going to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, if you're with us, stay with us, because all this stuff's going to do is grow and take off, especially with these two gentlemen I have over here on my right. They're really going to help All Gloves Off Sports Media become a household name before too much longer.
Yeah, it's funny. Out of nowhere, Clay Snowden drops our Twitter page as a page to follow for Reds stuff. And we went from 202 followers to now we're at 554. Like, legitimately overnight. I'm just like, dude,
He
like,
helped a lot.
that's awesome. Just the kindness of him.
That's a relationship that you guys have made because of the genuinely good guys that you are. I've really got to know Roger over the last couple of days, him being out here with me. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna don't break your arm patting yourself on the back there. Let me do it for you, right? But I mean, seriously, your fans know this already because they feel that vibe through the microphone. And you guys have been on podcasts, you've listened to different people's podcasts, and you can tell pretty much right away if this is a genuine person or not, or if this is just someone who's making this crap up or screaming and yelling or doing what they need to do. Neither of the three of us have yelled this entire time. It's been almost 2 hours, right? We don't need to. We have intelligent sports talk for intelligent fans, and that's what we're doing here on All Gloves Off Sports Media.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And for one, thank you for the idea of even doing this, having Roger be the guy because when let me rephrase all this. The idea of a podcast was never a thing. I had floated out to you, Mike, when we wrote for We Like Sports PC, that I had followed Roger's Substack for a while, and I know that he was just a way better than me writer than I could ever dream of. And I had this idea of co-writing something that you don't really see a whole lot of out there. People want to put their name on it. Mm-hmm. I'm not about that. Like, if you want to take credit for it, like, just CC my name in there somewhere, like, it's not the biggest deal for me, but like I wanted to, we covered the salary cap issue with baseball. This was 2024. We wrote about this at the end of 2024.
Beginning of 25.
Yeah. So I think it might've been like January 1st or February 1st. It was around that time. Mm-hmm. So that happened. And then you were like, Mike, you had pointed out, you said, hey, you guys should do a podcast together. And I was like, I've never thought about doing a podcast. Put my ugly face on the screen? No way. I hate talking in front of people. Like, I'm not going to do that. And then,
well, you didn't think you were a very good writer either, and we conquered that fear pretty fast. So,
I guess so. And then I started putting out Red's content more on Instagram, and this is where Doug comes into play. He had mentioned that he wanted to have a Reds podcast on their network. And I had kind of had the idea of maybe doing something, but I wanted to have somebody with me, obviously better than me, the way I can kind of hang out and hide. But, and that's where I DM'd you, Roger. And I said, hey, would you be interested in doing a Reds podcast? And then it just took off. Like, there's a stat that says, I think it's like 90% of podcasts die if you don't make it past 5 episodes. And I think we recorded like 2 a week for the first couple weeks, and then before a month hit, we had like 10 episodes out. So it worked, and here we are a year later, growing. I think it's getting better. Roger carries the show, but it's a lot of fun, and I never thought that we would, let alone be doing one show, but now we're doing 2 shows. And we hop on with you every once in a while. I've hopped on with Greg on his podcast a couple times. I did a pregame show for Chatterbox. Like, none of this feels like real life. It's just It's a lot of fun. I'm super ecstatic about all of it. I'm super ecstatic about the future. Getting a relationship with the players that we've met, not not in a selfish way. Like, yeah, it's like it's cool we could put out an episode about a player, but it's like I genuinely care about these players, and to see how they care about the fans and just getting their story out, whether we have 500 followers or 500,000 followers, like no matter what, their story's always going to be out there, and it's just it's a lot of fun.
I mean, don't get me wrong, 500,000 would be much better than 500, but yes. Okay. And
But,
you know
I
what?
guess-
You know what? Maybe there's people listening right now who are thinking the same thing that you're thinking, or that you were thinking a few years ago, right? Man, maybe this is something that I want to venture off in. Here's what you guys do: get on one of our social media accounts. I'll let these guys, praise all those things because I don't do them really well, except for the one I can see in front of me. All gloves off SM is our X account. So hop on there, say something to us like, hey, maybe I can get added to your group, because we are always trying to add like-minded people who love sports to our group. Other stuff we can teach. If you're a good person and you love sports, come on. We'll help you guys get it all settled in, and we can take off with you guys, and you can be added to us right here at All Gloves Off Sports Media.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
I guess if you guys don't have anything to add, we can wrap this baby up with our usual go Reds.
Go Reds.
Go Reds.